now I have the pleasure of introducing this year's Gabrielle Giffords Rising Star Award winner. Now, our previous winners, including Stacey Abrams and Ayanna Pressley, have kind of left some big shoes to fill, but I have no doubts she can fill them. In so many ways, Amelia Sykes is the perfect leader for such a time as this. As the minority leader in the Ohio House, she's dedicated her career to ending systemic racism and oppression, to ensuring we have more Black women leading at every level of government, to fighting for fair redistricting. And now she's getting her state through this pandemic. This is a woman who takes on the tough fights and she wins them. A woman who knows how to get stuff done. So, quick fun fact, under her leadership, the amount of bipartisan legislation passed by the Ohio House has nearly doubled. We think that's pretty impressive. So we are so proud of what she's already done and so excited to see what she'll do next. So now it's my great honor to turn it over to our 2020 Rising Star winner, Ohio House Minority Leader, Amelia Sykes. Oh, Amelia, congratulations, and so well deserved for all that you've already done, and no doubts what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Good afternoon, Emily's List. And again, thank you, Stephanie, for that lovely, generous introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to be with all of you today, and I trust that there are several hundred of you on the other side of the computer screen who are just as excited as I am about electing, being, and supporting women candidates in 2020. My name is Amelia Sykes, and I'm honored to be the state representative for my hometown, Akron, Ohio, which is known as the birthplace of champions, and I have been equally honored to serve as the minority leader of the Ohio House Democratic Caucus. Winning the Emily's List Gabrielle Giffords Rising Star Award is a true honor, and I'm thankful to be recognized for my dedication to supporting and elevating the voices of women and families in Ohio. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the phenomenal nominees, Representative Anna Eskamani, Jade Barr, Sydney Batch, Mary Gonzalez, and Senate Majority Leader Nicole Cannizzaro. All powerful, strong, principled women who are leading and bringing the change we need in state governments throughout our country. I've enjoyed getting to know you all electronically, of course, and I call it an honor and a privilege to be recognized alongside of you. I also feel a debt of gratitude to the woman who this auspicious award is named for, and thank Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords for her courage, bravery, and leadership. Also, I'd like to thank the women who have won this award before me for lighting a path for me to follow and women like me to follow. When people ask me how I got here and if I always wanted to be a legislator, the answer is always no. Emphatically no. In fact, 10 years ago, if you would have told me I would be an elected official, let alone leading the most diverse Democratic caucus in Ohio history with a majority female leadership team, I would not have believed you for a second, because my goal in life was to be the principal dancer at the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. I love to dance, but I never saw dancers who looked like me until I saw Alvin Ailey. Watching the beautiful, elegant Black and brown bodies grace the stage let me know that I could be there too. There is a place for me to live out my dream. There is a space for me, and I would be represented. However, when a seat opened up to run for state representative, I felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility to serve my community, the place and the people who raised my sister and I, and to take their voices to the people's house. And I have been grateful to do so ever since. While representing my hometown has been the greatest honor of my life, the job certainly has not come without its challenges. Between challenging the many legislative issues and topics, I've had the additional challenge of simply entering into the halls of the Ohio State House. Let me explain. On a regular basis, while attempting to enter the State House, the People's House, for committee or for session, I was stopped, searched, questioned about why I was there. And at first I brushed it off as, I'm new, or the new enhanced security for buildings. However, it became apparent that this treatment was reserved just for me. Often I was stopped while white legislative aides and lobbyists walked by, gawking at me while metal detectors ran over my body and state troopers searched my personal effects, leaving me to feel vulnerable and violated without cause in the very state house the people of my community elected me to serve in. Nonetheless, I went about my days fighting for better lives and brighter futures for Ohioans, because as women, these types of slights and injustices are fairly common. But one day I had enough. I was walking into the state house with a colleague of mine, and although I showed my lapel pin indicating I was a legislator, as well as my ID badge, I was stopped once again. My white male colleague who I was with was let through without incident, and he validated my employment, and it still wasn't enough to get the trooper to let me in, who proclaimed he was not letting me in until he searched me. After a bit of back and forth, I was let in after not being searched, and I asked the trooper, "Why wouldn't you let in the building?" And his response to me was simple. He said, "You don't look like a legislator." Now, I can't see you all, but usually when I tell that story, jaws drop, an audible gasp can be heard. And yes, it is true. He said, I didn't look like a legislator. That phrase stuck with me because as I walked through the halls of the State House and saw portraits of governors and speakers, Senate presidents, and former lawmakers, he was right. I didn't look like a legislator. The people displayed on the walls of the State House who held power and influence were mostly white men. In fact, there wasn't a single Black woman legislator under the age of 30 anywhere. It wasn't like the representation that I had seen and desired to be a part of at the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, where people who looked like me were there and represented. The Ohio State House was not a place where I looked like I belonged. That interaction shed a light on the fact that it wasn't only that trooper who did not and could not imagine a young Black woman could hold a position of influence and power, that that person could look like me, but it was also the people I worked with. My colleagues, the general public, were also not used to seeing a young Black woman as having the ability or capacity to hold a position of power. Not only was it unfamiliar, it was unwelcomed. And they let me know in many ways, including not letting me into the building and single handedly attempting to invalidate the will of tens of thousands of voters who elected me to represent them in the very place they did not want me to enter. But what does a legislator look like? What does the face of leadership look like? Why doesn't it look like me? And why couldn't it or shouldn't it look like me? But the reality is, it is me. I am a leader, and I do look like a legislator, and I look like a mayor, and a congresswoman, and a governor, and yes, the president of these United States. With the help of a few friends and a sorority sister, I engaged women across Ohio and the country to talk to them about their stories. And although validating, they were also heartbreaking because they shared similar stories where their mere presence was challenged simply because they were a woman, a Black woman at that. And we launched a hashtag and a movement called We Belong Here, the beginning of our movement to proclaim our space in every place where decisions are made, to demand, not ask, for our rightful place and say firmly in strong collective voices, we belong here, whether you like it or not. Imagine having to explain to someone on the outside of a building why I should get inside that building, knowing that as minority leader, I've led a caucus that has passed more bills in our first year than either of the two previous General Assemblies combined, or that I joined my colleagues to form the nation's first state-level Black maternal health caucus to improve maternal health outcomes across Ohio, or that I was the lead sponsor of House Bill 1, a bill that offers protections to victims of dating violence. And I sponsored a bill that made sure that when an unfair criminal justice system wrongfully imprisons someone, they could be financially compensated for an unthinkable justice. And so the ability to talk to you today so confidently about why I belong here and why it's not just because I am a woman or a Black woman that makes me a good legislator, it's because I'm good at what I do. I'm smart, I'm savvy, I'm compassionate, and I'm dedicated to the people I serve. I belong here. After 35 years of Emily's List working to elect women, it is a shame we have to continue to have these conversations. But the good news is our sisterhood is what will save us. Whether it's the Diva Caucus or the Squad, women are changing the world. I want to leave you with a quote from Sojourner Truth. In 1851, she delivered the famous Ain't I a Woman speech at the Ohio Women's Right Convention here in my hometown of Akron, Ohio. And she said this: if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. So, ladies, our world has been turned upside down, but we are getting in formation, and they better watch out because we are coming. Women, Black women, women of color are coming to lead in state houses, city halls, Congress, and yes, even the White House, because we belong here. Thank you so much for this honor and award, and I hope you all have a wonderful and lovely evening.
Oh my gosh, Amelia, that was awesome. You are so incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I'm going to hold you for a moment because I want everybody to know my mouth dropped. Like I did all the facial things that you said I would do. And I don't know why, because I heard the exact same story from Congresswoman Lauren Underwood in the US Capitol and Congresswoman Sharice Davids in the US Capitol. We have to fight like hell to make sure that they know, like, of course, we all strong, tough, strategic, smart women deserve, not just deserve, but have our rightful place in governing. And you, my friend, have all of Emily's List to stand with you as you make your rise all the way up. I'm in. I'm in all the way up to the very top because it is time. You're extraordinary. Thank you.